Are you looking for a nice, fast, efficient, quick warm-up that's going to help you improve your deadlift? Well, this is going to be the warm-up for you. Let's get to it. Hey there, Smitley here from Thirst Gym, and today I'm going to walk you through a very sequence-based warm-up that's going to help open up your mobility, improve your deadlift performance, so that you can optimize your deadlift every single time you walk in the gym, and hopefully at the end of the day, you can even hit a deadlift PR just because of the warm-up that you're following. Warm-up should be sequenced in certain ways, and I've done the squat and the bench press in previous installments. I'll make sure I have those linked in the description box below so you can find them if you're wanting to know how to warm up about those exercises as well. But what I want to walk you through here today is going to be sequenced in a certain way so that as things unlock, you're going to not only have a good time-efficient warm-up, but everything is going to help the next steps. Then not only you move better, you feel better, but you optimize that performance. So let's talk about what you should do for that warm-up. Let's go. All right, the first thing we're gonna do is a breathing drill, and this is called prone frog breathing. And while this is never sexy, in all the videos I've done, I talk about breathing, and it's ideal to help get our pelvis and our body in position to optimize everything else that's going to come. It doesn't take a lot of time, so just bear with me, and you'll see why this is great. The main thing I have to help you remember here is that regardless whether you pull sumo or conventional, this warm-up is going to help you, but this is probably gonna help sumo deadlifters a little bit more, at least this particular breathing drill, but I still think both lifters, regardless of how you lift, should do this. So what you're gonna do is you're actually going to have your hands on the floor. Your feet are gonna be out wide in a sumo position. You take your feet, have them together, and you're going to actually be on your hands are flat all the way up to your elbows here, and you're gonna actually rock your pelvis forward. And you're gonna start to feel that stretch in your adductors, in your groin. You're gonna make sure that your belt buckle is pulled towards your face slightly so you can find your abs. You just wanna make sure you're not arching here. We're actually bringing that pelvis underneath us, and then we're just gonna go inhale, exhale. And as we exhale, we actually wanna feel our pelvis drop towards the floor here. So and you're gonna feel that in your adductors and everything. So that's gonna help open up your adductors, gonna get your pelvis back underneath you, get your low back to relax a bit. That's gonna prepare you for the next step. All right, the next thing we're gonna do is some quick self-myofascial release or foam rolling. And as I talked about in my other videos, this is never a sexy part, but just spend a couple minutes doing it, focusing on the target areas that you need to. Today I'm gonna walk you through the glutes, hamstrings, adductors, calves, and quads are the top 5 areas that I think you need to focus on for your deadlift to get your lower body kind of warmed up. Optionally, you can do your lats and your back, but personally, I think you don't have to do that, but I do think focusing around your hips is important, especially if you pull sumo. So usually you wanna start with your glutes, just a kind of convenient place to start. You're gonna start sitting on the foam roller, and you're just gonna lean towards one butt cheek or the other, and you're just gonna find any issues that are kind of tight or aggravated. You spend a little bit more time there. There's not much, just do a couple rolls, but then you can take your leg, cross over, and focus on that piriformis. That's probably gonna be where you feel a little bit more, maybe one side or the other, but you're gonna spend some time with that piriformis just so you can kind of open those hips up a little bit, and then we're just gonna move on. So next we're gonna go to the hamstrings. So we're just gonna slide down the whole back of our leg here, prop ourselves up all the way up into our hip and then behind our knee. We wanna make sure we're going all the way up into that hip, getting as much of that hamstring as we can. Again, it's not gonna be anything too crazy unless if your hamstrings are pretty tight, but we wanna make sure that we try to get those warmed up. And then we're actually gonna do our adductors. So what we're gonna do there is we're actually gonna roll sideways. We're gonna apply some smashing pressure if you want, and then we're gonna keep our leg long, and we're gonna go same thing, all the way down to the knee, up high into the hip, as much as we possibly can here. And then we're just gonna continue to go down the leg. So now I'm gonna go down to my calves. Ankle mobility is incredibly important here. Make sure we can sit into those hips. And so we're gonna go all the way down to the ankle, all the way up to the back of the knee. So where a lot of people miss this, they don't go high enough up in the knee. You can turn your legs sideways slightly. You wanna focus on those peroneals on the outside, or you wanna focus more on the interior aspect. Just roll it around, find what's kind of tight. Then we're gonna go onto the quads, which is the last step here. And so what you're gonna do is you're gonna take this, place it above your kneecap, all the way up into your hip and back down. So as high as you can and back. And then you can go towards the side as well, get that lateral quad. You're not gonna actually be able to foam roll your IT band, that's false. If you wanna feel like your IT band area is tight, that's probably just your lateral quad. If you want to get that quote unquote IT band, focus on your TFL, which is up here in the top of your hip. So make sure you want it up as high as you possibly can to focus on that, and then we are done with our foam rolling. All right, next we're gonna do the couch stretch. It's gonna help open up our quads and our hip flexors and our hips. You're gonna find a lot of these mobilizations are very similar to the squat one because again, we use a lot of the same musculature. So you can tweak some stuff a little bit here if you want, but I do think the couch stretch is one that you probably want to kind of keep in there. So that you're gonna have one leg up on the box or a bench, have your knee on the ground, and then we're gonna make sure our other leg is in front of us. We're gonna make sure our hips are turned towards that upstance leg. You're gonna feel a stretch in the front part of that hip capsule here. And then what we're gonna do, we can take our hand overhead, we can bring it across, we can put it across our chest, all personal preference. We just wanna make sure we're not extending through our low back. We wanna keep our ribs down, take our glute, nice little squeeze there. You're gonna feel a really big stretch. Inhale, exhale, try to breathe into it, relax. As you relax, it's gonna open up a little bit more, and then you can use this front leg to actually pull you forward to increase that, improve that stretch. So again, we're not trying to extend here. Ribs are stacked and down, minor glute squeeze, leg is forward, and we're gonna hang out there for about 5-ish to 10 breaths, depending upon how you feel. All right, the next thing we're gonna do is leg lowering with a band. I also talked about this in the squat video, so if you haven't watched that, you can probably scroll past this. But you're gonna take the band, we're gonna place it around our foot, and we're gonna actually mobilize our hamstring individually for each side. So the band's gonna go around your foot, and then you're gonna take this, keep your back flat, bring your leg up to around 60 degrees or so. You can bring it up higher, but most people honestly just don't have the true hamstring mobility. Like I can already feel a hamstring pulling here without even getting all the way up to 90 degrees. So I know that I'm in a good spot, but you wanna keep your toe pulled towards your face. You wanna keep your quads slightly turned on, minor bit of ab activation here. So, you know, once your trunk turned on, you don't want to be arching through your low back at any point. You're gonna take your other leg, bring it up here, and you're just gonna drop that leg that's not in the band. You're gonna feel the stretch in the leg that's in the band here. So we're gonna mobilize each hamstring, try to relax. Again, make sure I'm not arching through my low back as I do this. And again, you can do 8 to 10 reps or until it kind of feels like you're good, and then you can switch sides, and then you can actually try to increase that stretch a little bit more as you're going every couple reps, and that's gonna help open up that hamstring mobility so that now your hips are feeling pretty good and can we move into the next mobilization. All right, this next mobilization is going to be for the adductors, and this is a quadruped adductor mobilization. It's a little bit different than the squat one, and this works really well for sumo deadlifters, but again, if you're a conventional deadlifter, this is not gonna hurt you. I would highly recommend doing this. It's probably still gonna help your hips feel really good. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna have one leg out, completely flat, leg is completely straight. I can't emphasize enough. You want your leg as straight as you can get it. You're gonna be in a knee position here, a half kneeling base position, and then what you're gonna do with your hands is you're gonna actually have them out in front of you. And from this position, you're gonna use your body to rock yourself backwards. And exhale as you do so. So you're gonna exhale, you're gonna feel a big stretch in this adductor, maybe even a little bit of your hamstring as well. And you're just gonna try to improve that rock back every single rep as you're exhaling. And then you would switch sides. So I recommend doing this again, about 8 to 10 per side. Just trying to make sure that you're opening that up. And by the end, you should be able to feel like you're kind of sitting back, but your foot should still be flat. And that's gonna have your adductors warmed up so that now we're moving on to that next and last piece. The last mobilization we're gonna do are a hip airplane. And so we're gonna use my boxes here as my assistants. You can use a pole, you can use a rack, doesn't matter. You want something to hold on to, just give you a little bit of balance. And you can hold on forward is what I like to do personally. But what we're gonna do from this position here, make sure my box isn't gonna fall, is I'm gonna start on one leg. So I'm gonna start on my right leg. It's what I've kind of been mobilizing this whole time here. And so what I wanna do is I wanna take my other leg that's off the floor, I wanna drop it down and push my hips to the side. And I'm gonna bring my chest across this way. Okay, this is gonna be my starting position. I'm gonna feel a big stretch on the outside portion of my hip, and I'm gonna walk myself over the wall, open up, really feel that stretch in my groin, really trying to get this leg opened up, and then I'm gonna rock back down, exhale, feel that stretch. I like to take this leg out to the side to help me get here, and then open back up, walk back around, open, felt my hip pop there, not too bad. And we're gonna go back and forth and trying to open up that hip mobility while I'm actually on my feet. So what this is gonna do is take your hip through internal and external rotation. It's gonna open up the posterior capsule back here by your butt, but you're also gonna feel it on the inside portion as well. And as you're driving up, this way. You want to try to squeeze that glute ever so slightly. It doesn't have to be a maximal contraction, but you just want to feel your glute here. That's going to let everything relax on the inside. It's going to optimize that a little bit more. I like this for about 5 to 8 rotations on each side. Again, really trying to open up more space every single time that I do a rep, making sure my foot stays flat, feeling all my normal foot ground contact. If you do this flat footed, it's probably even better. But when you're done, you're going to feel that your hip feels really good. Now we're ready to prime everything before we go to the bar. All right, now we're gonna do a Copenhagen plank. So we're gonna actually do some activation-based drills or some drills to actually get our heart rate up, get things actually prepared from a tissue perspective for the deadlift that we're gonna do. Again, just like the squat, I love the Copenhagen plank. You're gonna get your adductor to actually kind of turn on and recruit. You're gonna get to good quality side plank, which is gonna focus on our obliques and our QLs. It's really just gonna prepare everything that we're gonna do after this. So with your normal Copenhagen plank, foot's on the box, you're gonna make sure that you're in a side plank position. The other leg is here out in front or slightly bent, whatever you want. You just wanna make sure that you're also forward here as you go to do that, and then just hold that position. Make sure this pelvis is pulled up towards the ceiling. You're gonna feel your adductor a lot on this, and then your downside abs. If this is too hard, all you gotta do, bend your leg, put it so your knees on the bench or the box or whatever object you're using, and then you're just gonna do the same thing. That's gonna shorten the lever, it's gonna make it more manageable. Then you can continue to work on getting out further as you're going over time. It's gonna strengthen your adductors up. So I recommend doing this about 15 to 20 seconds on each side. You could do 1, 2, 3 sets, depending on how your adductors are kind of feeling for the day, but definitely do this to get it to turn on, and then we got the next movement. All right, the next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna do a band-assisted pancake stretch. And while this is a little bit of a mobilization drill, it's gonna be active mobilization. So the reason I like this after doing the Copenhagen planks, we strengthen those adductors up. Now we're gonna try to make sure we actually get a good quality stretch, but we're gonna improve our range of motion through our low back. So we're gonna take this band, we're gonna tie it to a rack, rig, whatever you got. Just pick a moderate band, doesn't have to be anything crazy strong. And then you're just gonna make sure you have some tension from the get-go. This works great for sumo deadlifters. And if you happen to be a conventional deadlifter, you can actually just have your feet straight, like in your conventional stance. I'll show both here, but I'm gonna show the pancake stretch I think is the preferred option here, but pick which one works best for you. And then from this position, toes pulled toward my face like they're on the floor. And I'm just gonna exhale and let that band pull me farther and then come back. So exhale. And really try to open up every single pull that I get. I'm feeling those in my hamstrings and my adductors, but I also feel my low back working as I go to actually drive that up. And then after I've done about 8 or 10 of those, then you can go to like a conventional one, or if you start with the conventional, you can go to the sumo, same thing, about 8 or 10 here. You can just do one if you want. I personally prefer to do both. Just open up both aspects here, trying to improve my mobility, get my low back nice and warmed up, and ensure that I'm training through a nice big full range of motion here as I'm doing that. So again, 8 to 10 reps at each spot if you're gonna do both, or just do about 10 to 12 of just the one that you prefer to use. All right, the final exercise that I love here is a good old-fashioned kettlebell swing. I talked about this in the squat one as well. We're gonna make sure we do this incredibly explosive. So what we're gonna do here is we're gonna take the kettlebell, it'll be a nice big wide stance. We want this explosive. We're gonna throw back. Be fast, throw it down, and throw it up. Now, if you don't wanna do this, you could do a reverse hyper, as I mentioned in my squat video as well, but I like this because it's more ballistic. You'd also wanna do the reverse hyper somewhat ballistic as well, if that's what you choose to do. It's gonna get your glutes, hamstrings, everything nice and warmed up, primed for your deadlift. And you can do this for anywhere from 10 to 20 reps. Do it till you feel good and like you're ready to go. I got one more exercise here. Let's kind of finish things off before you need a deadlift. Okay, the final exercise we're gonna do here are just standing band crunches or standing abs. You take the band, you're gonna throw it over the chin-up bar. Again, just a moderate band tension. Doesn't have to be a lot in terms of tension. And then you take that band, we're gonna bring it so it's around our head. Now, what I'm gonna recommend here is that you take a deadlift stance that you normally use. So if you deadlift sumo, get out wider. If you go conventional, go narrower, and we're just gonna do some standing abs. We don't have to have a lot of tension here, so I don't need to be super far forward. I just want the band to feel like it's pulling me backwards. I can feel my abs are already slightly engaged, and then keeping my feet flat, my knees slightly solid, I'm just gonna do a reverse RDL. So I'm gonna crunch down, and then own that position on the way up. Squeeze my butt at the top just slightly, make sure my pelvis is underneath me, And again, I'm just going back and forth here. It's not like a crazy ab pump or anything. That's not what I'm after. What I'm after here is reversing that kettlebell swing action that I did, but getting my abdominals slightly engaged in this position here that I would be when I actually go deadlift. So again, I can feel my abdominals here. It's gonna help open that low back up some more, finish things off, and then I'm ready to go deadlift. Again, you can do this for anywhere from 10 to 20 reps, just until you kind of feel good, and then you move on. So this is a very simple abdominal exercise that you can really do about anywhere. That's the other nice thing I like about it. And again, you're gonna feel your abdominals and have that back opened up, and now you're ready to deadlift. All right, that wraps up today's video of the best damn warm-up that you're gonna find for your deadlift, whether it be sumo or conventional. Again, I talked about how this is sequenced in a particular way to open things up as we're going, and the goal is that you can be able to do this in about 10 to 12 minutes. I don't want to waste your time. There's plenty of things that you can do outside of this as well to warm up, so I'm not going to knock those. These are just things that I've found over the course of my career of training people and being a higher level powerlifter that have really helped improve my performance. And this has grown and evolved over time, and these are just happen to be things that I've seen very good success with for many lifters and clients. So if you happen to like this video, do me a favor, smash that like button, leave me a comment, subscribe, share with a friend. All that really helps me out. I really appreciate it, and I'll see you at the next video.